What's up guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while since I've said that, but as you guys can see by the title of this video and the pictures I just showed you, I've decided to come back to show you guys me and my family's 2023 trip to Spain. Now, it was our first time crossing the Atlantic Ocean and we made sure to make the most of it. Now this is only part one, but before we get into the clips, I want to show you guys an overview of everywhere we went and visited in Spain. I actually have it written down because it was so many places. Starting with the landing in Barcelona, then we went to Ronda, then Córdoba, then Málaga, then Gibraltar, then Marbella, then Sevilla, then all the way to the center of Spain for Madrid. From there we went to Segovia, then back to Madrid, and that's where we flew home from. But in this part, you guys are going to be seeing our first few days in Barcelona, which were amazing. But let's start from the beginning. So get ready for our flight montage in 3, 2, 1. Arriving in Barcelona, the first thing we did was find a taxi because we wanted to get a feel for the city. So we found a taxi driver that lived in Barcelona and we asked him to give us a tour or take us somewhere to get a view of the city. One of the things that shocked me the most was the amount of taxis and mopeds driving around Barcelona. That's not something you see here in Florida. Moving on, one of the best things in Spain is the food. They have amazing gastronomia. We had a place in mind that Mark Wiens tried to go to when he went to Spain, called La Cova Fumada. Opened for almost 65 years now, they serve tapas, which is a common way of eating in Spain, which is basically smaller portions of meals so you can try a little bit of each. We tried the grilled calamar, bacalao, fresh bread with alioli, chickpeas or garbanzos with morcilla on its own, and me and my family all agree that everything there was a 10 out of 10. We went to a supermarket that here would be considered a Sam's Club or a Costco, a store that sells things in large quantities, and we were amazed by the amount of different types of hams that they had.
Yeah.
And at the cashier, instead of having all different types of sweets, they had different types of turrones, which me and my family were sure to take advantage of.
The next day.
Moving on to the next day. The next day we woke up and we wanted to go to El Mercado de la Boqueria. It's basically an open market where sellers have stands, but they also have things to try, to taste test. Some of them even have bars where you can sit at and eat. Between all the things we tried, we had breakfast. After that, it came time for the main event of the day. We grabbed a taxi and we headed towards La Sagrada Familia. Basically, it's a church under construction. It's the largest unfinished Catholic church in the world, designed by Catalonian architect Antoni Gaudí, a very famous architect in Spain. Construction of the church began in 1882, but in 1883 Gaudí took over. He dedicated his life to this project and he's buried in the church's crypt. We were told that to this day, the project is estimated to be done in 10 years. So much to learn in La Sagrada Familia, we took a guided tour. The guided tour starts in the Nativity facade. It's the site of the church that was constructed the first, and it's dedicated to the birth of Jesus Christ. The sculptures tell stories from when Jesus was growing up. When you walk inside of this church, you feel like something so small. The columns are shaped like tall tree trunks, and at the top, they branch out like real tree branches. The roof even has carvings to make it look like leaves at the top of the branches. Gaudí's idea was to make visitors feel as if they were in a forest. The colored glass represents the seasons of the year: summer, spring, fall, and winter. Exploring inside, you step out to the other side of the church, to the Passion facade. This side of the church is dedicated to Passion of Jesus Christ and the suffering of Jesus during his crucifixion. There's also the option to go under the church. There's the gift shop, and you can also see what working conditions were like, what Gaudí's workspace looked like, and the models that were made while building the church. You also have the option of paying to use an elevator to go up one of the church's towers to get a view of the church from up top and of the city, and you can feel what it's like inside of the church, if you don't mind going down all the stairs afterwards, but the view is worth it. After La Sagrada Familia, we moved on to another one of Gaudí's amazing architecture works. Casa Milà, also famously known as La Pedrera, is another one of Gaudí's most famous works. In fact, it was his private residence. Built from 1906 to 1912, he left the center of this house open so that large amounts of light could come into the rooms. You can book an audio tour and go through the maze of the house and explore all the rooms as everything was back then, and go through the gift shop. But in my opinion, the most impressive parts of this house were the attic and the roof. Moving on to the roof, also what Gaudi called the Garden of Warriors, where you can clearly see how Gaudi's architecture form was the farthest thing from traditional. At night, we went to go complete one of our most important objectives in Spain, which was to eat a Spanish paella. We went to a restaurant by the beach called the Tiburon Bar, and they did not disappoint.
The next day.
The next day, we woke up to explore on foot, and here's what we did. We ended up renting this Volkswagen for the rest of our trip. It was one of the best decisions we made on vacation because it allowed us to explore Spain freely. And it turns out the taxis were a lot more expensive compared to renting a car for everything we wanted to do. With our trusty steed, we headed to the Barcelona Stadium, also known as El Estadio del Barça. Unfortunately, we didn't know, but it was under construction, so we weren't able to tour the actual stadium, but they're fixing it up to add more seats and more roofing. But we did stop by the famous gift shop, and we went into El Museo del Barça, the Barça's museum. The museum had beautiful lighting and techie screens that you could use to see famous clips from the Barça. It's an amazing experience for Barça fans. You could stay there as long as you want, learning about the victories, watching clips, and looking at all the amazing trophies. The Barça teams are one of the most famous things about Barcelona, so definitely put that on your list if you go to Barcelona. After that, we headed back to the hotel and we had an amazing dinner from things that we bought from the store I told you guys. And we headed to bed early because the next morning we hit the road for Ronda. Part 2 of this video and our vacation will be coming next Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. I appreciate it. Muchas gracias por ver el video hasta el final. Lo aprecio. And I'll see you in the next one. Nos vemos en la próxima. Coco, say bye.